Hi friends, I hope you had a good week last week. We are here to do our virtual Sunday school like we've been doing all summer. Hopefully soon, this fall, we'll meet back in person again. I'd like that. Would you guys like that too? I want you to make sure before we get started, you have your brown workbook. That way your hands can be busy when your eyes and your ears are busy. I want you to open it up to our August 2nd reading. Our lesson today is part of being the church without being in the church is helping care for the timid and the weak. Our Bible verse today is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 14. It says, "And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and be patient with everyone." We're going to read today from Paul Writes a Letter by Chris Rashuka. Today, this week, Paul is writing to the folks in Thessalonica. Here he is right here. It looks like maybe he's eating some cookies this week while he's writing his letter. Here's some pictures in his letter. And Paul says, "Dear friends in Thessalonica, study and be quiet. Do your own business. Work with your own hands. Comfort the timid and help the weak. Please share this letter, Paul." You're going to hear the book Maybe God Is Like That Too by Jennifer Grant this week. And in that book, you're going to hear about a story of the day of a child who's wondering, who is God? What does God do? And we see as this child goes throughout the day in the city, different ways people are acting like God, and they're helping and doing things better. And if you think back, helping the timid and the weak, that really, we know that lesson already. That was kind of what we learned. Remember back at the beginning of our summer virtual Sunday school, when we talked about the golden rule and loving your neighbor as yourself? By now, helping the timid and the weak should be something you guys are pretty good at this summer, because you've been helping your neighbors and you've been treating people like you would want them to treat you. So this week, I want you to think about people who are more timid, and timid means, they're kind of shy, or they're not as brave as you, or they're not as confident as you, and sometimes you might be the timid one. But helping those people out, making sure their voice is heard, making sure their opinions are heard, making sure their needs are met. And the weak, who are the weak? A lot of times our church thinks about the weak as young people or as elderly people. And, what are ways that you could help the weak? Be it somebody who can't get out, or maybe somebody whose movement is kind of hard to do. I want you to think about this week and put into action, what is one way that you can help somebody who is timid or weak? So that is your job for learning to be the church this week when you're not at church. And hopefully in another month or so, we'll be all together in the church. I love you guys. Wear your masks. Stay safe. See you later. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. This is Hazel Lavardi from St. Stephen's Church. I am going to read, Maybe God Is Like That Too. I live in the city where the sidewalks and subway cars and buildings and buses are packed with people. But I've never seen God before. Grandma, does God live in this city? I asked one morning at breakfast. Yes, God is here, she says. You just need to know where to look. Whenever you see love, joy, and peace, God is there, she says, stirring her tea. Whenever there's patience, kindness, and goodness, God is there too. When you see faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, that's God's Spirit at work. On the way to school, I'm on the lookout. I see a bus full of tourists, and I count 10 bright yellow taxis. I spy a man sweeping a stoop, and Grandma and I laugh when we see a tiny dog wearing a fluffy purple sweater. At school, Grandma hands me my lunch and hugs me close before she says goodbye. That's what love looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the swings, I pump so hard I see over the wall into the alley. My friends shout, higher, higher, as my feet fly way up into the sky. That's what joy looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. Outside, car horns blast and sirens scream. But my classroom is quiet and calm. That's what peace looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I try to tie my shoes, but the laces tangle around my fingers. My teacher sits down beside me and shows me how to tie them. That's what patience looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the way home, I see a doorman wearing a red cape and a hat with a shiny brim. He's holding the door for a man using a wheelchair. The man moves very slowly, and the doorman chats with him and smiles. That's what kindness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. While I'm setting the table for dinner, there's a knock at the door. It's our neighbor from downstairs, bringing us a loaf of bread. It's golden brown and warm and wrapped in a thin white towel. That's what goodness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. After dinner, I work on my homework while Grandma stands at the kitchen sink, washing dishes and humming to herself, just like she does every single night. That's what faithfulness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. At bedtime, Grandma sits at the edge of my bed, singing me a lullaby and stroking my head. She tucks my blankets up close around me. That's what gentleness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I lie in bed watching the curtains flutter. I want to talk about that dog we saw today and how high I can swing. But Grandma says that once I'm tucked in, I have to stay in bed until morning. I close my eyes and try to fall asleep. That's what self-control looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I saw God over and over today whenever I saw love, joy, and peace, and whenever there was patience, kindness, and goodness. When I saw faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, I saw God's Spirit at work. I don't see God the way I see my friends or the streetlights or the river, but I see signs of God's Spirit all around me right here in the city. I know what God is like. Maybe I can be like that too. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, and kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. That's from Galatians. That is the end of the story. Goodbye. Have a great day.